Today, I want to talk about asking for help and being vulnerable with that. And there's been a constant um, flow of reminders of this for me in the past 24 hours. So, having this as my topic today, I planned this a month ago. However, when you put something out, the energy out into the universe, it somehow comes back to you and it validates what you're thinking, what you're feeling, or it might let you know that maybe you need to go down a different path. So today I want to talk about the vulnerability and asking for help and how this started. And yesterday I was in a coaches training, and I have this every Tuesday with a group of coaches. And it just started as, normally we talk about how we can, improve our skills and things like that and learn better connection and lots of wonderful tools to constantly be working on becoming a better servant, right? Well, yesterday we talked about ourselves, and it was opened up with, I just have the impression that there some people in here that maybe are going through some things or need to talk things out. And it ended up being one of the most amazing sessions that I had been involved in. I shared some of the things that I was experiencing, some of the struggles I'd had over the last 6 or 8 months. And as human beings, we all have things that we need support with, right? I'm here with you in this moment because I experienced a lot of life, and a lot of things over time kept me in a dark place, stuck, not wanting to be seen. And, absolutely not wanting to be vulnerable, right? Well, yesterday I shared from that space, and I tend to be a person who listens intently. Like, I will listen, I will absorb, I will implement, and I will speak when I'm good and ready. It's not that I'm afraid to. It's I need to gather my thoughts before I share. And so I have been listening intently over the last couple of months, and it was time for me to share these things. But here was the great thing about it. And this is what I want to invite you to consider, is that when I shared, we talked about it, the next person shared who was feeling some of the same things, right? Then there was other people who shared, who've been there, who could give encouragement to move through this season of our lives. And it was just this amazing bonding experience of being vulnerable. And what I want you to consider is, who are the people in your life who you can feel safe and comfortable with to be vulnerable, to walk with you, to just listen. We don't always need someone to tell us what we need to do, right? And in fact, when I got done sharing, it was said, it doesn't sound like you're asking for any kind of support or coaching. You're just sharing. And that was the truth. Because here's the power of our words when we speak to other people. You're not the only one in the room. And most likely, what you're feeling, what you've experienced, someone else has felt something similar or experienced something similar. And so part of my message here is that, and when I was talking earlier about the universe and how it is just coming together with the same message, is it started out with me in my Bible this morning and talking about, and whatever your higher power is. But for me, it was talking about how I'm never alone, right? Well, then I listened to a Darren Hardy this morning, And he's talking about an olive tree, which, by the way, I need to do some research on an olive tree because there are so many representations of an olive tree to our lives. But it was talking about how an olive tree comes to full maturity in 40 or 50 years, but it could live for hundreds of years as long as it's nurtured and the branches are clipped and maintained and things like that. But 40 to 50 years old. So if you think about that as a human being, right? 40 to 50 years old, all the learning that we've done. But one of the things that really struck me was this. Actually, there was two things. One is the constant pruning. We need to be pruning the people in our lives that are not serving us. And we need to be pruning the thoughts in our minds that are not serving us. What are the things that we are holding on to in our lives that are not serving us, that are weighing us down, that are keeping us from getting what we want, from keeping us from healing? Those things that we continue to shove down. But guess what? They're sitting there. And when we start to wonder, why am I not reaching my full potential? Why is it I'm not receiving my goals? Why is it I'm not having the relationship that I know I'm deserving of? Well, a lot of times it's those unresolved experiences in life that we keep shoving down. So, no, that was the number one thing, is pruning the people in your life and those thoughts in your mind. And the second thing was this, that the branches of an olive tree, just like any other tree, there's usually some lighter weight ones, and then there are some heavier weight ones. And the heavier weight ones support the lighter weight ones. So they lean into each other to create a stronger overall result in the fruit that it produces. It starts to work together. It starts to support each other. And that's how relationships are in our lives. So if we don't have the right relationships, if we don't have those people in our lives that support us, then those are the things that I would encourage you to lean into and look for. You know, I went through my whole, most of my adult life walking a road by myself. It's not that I didn't have friends. I did have a couple of friends that were close to me. However, I worked through things on my own. I didn't let people see what I needed. And to be honest with you, I wasn't sure I even knew what I needed at the time. But because I was always working through things on my own, there was a lot of negative dialogue of, why can't I figure this out? I'm a smart woman. Why can't I figure it out? Well, it's because we're not meant. We're not meant to walk alone. So finding your people is so, so important. And today, my post today, this is just all random how it all came together. I mean, there's some planning to things, but the Darren Hardy and what I read in my Bible, you know, really supports my post today, which says, asking for what you need is healthy and shows confidence, and you're worth it. A lot of times, especially women, we are inherent nurturers. We want to take care of everybody else. And we want people to believe that we're okay. And a lot of times we're not. And I was that person for a long, long time. But standing in your power, standing in your confidence is admitting that, you know what, I need some support. And whatever that looks like for you, right? Is that a coach? That's something that I do. I help people overcome those habits of thinking that they've learned their entire lives that are creating these roadblocks. The roadblocks to the relationship they want or the career they want are just simply joy and peace and freedom, right? So find a coach. If you're in a place where you need support from a therapist, There is no shame in asking for help. It shows strength. And the other thing is it's a ripple effect on how it affects the rest of the people in your life. And I've shared this before. When I started going through my development, when I admitted that I needed support, I started to shift and change so much that my son last year, after 5 years on this journey, said, Mom, you've changed so much. I want to feel more light like you. You know, that made every tear I ever shed, that made any time I wanted to quit well worth the journey. Because you know what? It's not just me and it's not just him. It's now him and everyone he interacts with. Him as a father, him as a husband, me as his mom, as the grandma to the kids, right? There's so much ripple effect when we admit that we need support and we stop the resistance, stop resisting asking for help, and get vulnerable, get real with yourself. You'll be amazed at how your life starts to shift and how joy starts to come into your life even greater, feeling more fulfilled, right? So there's no shame in asking for help. Being vulnerable is so important. And remember that we're not meant to walk this life alone, right? We're meant to lock arms and do things together. So I hope this message served you today. Go out there and be the best version of you that you possibly can today. And I will see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.